Welcome. My name is Jon Arnold. I'm the principal of J. Arnold & Associates, an independent analyst consultancy, and my practice focuses on unified communications and collaboration.
Hello, my name is Michael Cavanaugh. I am Director of Solution Architecture for SPS in the Cisco line of business.
And we're going to be talking about some trends in productivity and collaboration solutions, what that means for the end customer, the role the vendors are playing, and what's coming down the pipe. So let's get a bit of the SPS story here first. So tell us a bit about the background and really what's your sweet spot in the marketplace.
Okay. So SPS was founded in 1988 as basically an Avaya partner, doing Avaya PBXs and phone systems. In 2012, they expanded out and they bought a company called Providia, who played in the video space. So they moved from traditional telephony into video. It's the beginning of unified communications. 2015, they bought a company in the West Coast called Extra Team, who was a very strong Microsoft partner and a Cisco partner. Later in that year, they acquired AdCap Network Systems in the Southeast, very strong Cisco partner. So at this point, SPS can provide unified communications across pretty much any manufacturer on the market today. So our sweet spot really is any of the unified communications solutions, designing that for a customer, figuring out what it is that they'd like, what works for their business, doing that design, implementing it, and then managing it beyond that.
Okay, any particular verticals?
We pretty much play across verticals. Unified communications has a fit everywhere. We all need to be able to communicate with each other, our employees, our customers, our potential customers. There really isn't a specific vertical. However, each vertical has its own niche and its own needs, and we can address those.
So for any of these verticals, and they're all important, tell us a bit about the difference between single source and best of breed. There really are two ways to go to market, right?
There really are. So in really, it depends on the thing we're trying to solve as to which direction we'll go. Single source meaning it's one manufacturer for all of the components. Best of breed meaning, say, call control from one provider and messaging from another, right? So depending on what the customer needs. In a single source, all of the piece parts within the solution are going to talk to each other seamlessly. Where a best of breed, I may get better features in one piece, but I don't have that seamless connection between the manufacturers. So you've got pros and cons to both. We will tend to look at what is it the customer wants to do, what are we trying to accomplish, what are the business drivers, and then go with that based on what it is we're trying to accomplish.
And based on that, your shift really in the market is about solving business problems now, right?
Yes, sir.
Used to be technology solutions, now it's business problems. How does that play with your customers?
Plays very well, actually. And we talked about how IT has changed, right? Where it used to be they dictate to the business, now they're helping the business. So building that partnership with our customers, trying to understand what it is you want to do, what are your business outcomes, what problems do you face, and let's tailor something that's going to address those, both short-term and long-term. You know, thinking about your 3 to 5 year plan, what can we do now to get you along those lines?
Okay, so Mike, let's move on to a broader topic, and that is collaboration and productivity. These are big words, but everyone knows they've got to be doing this to make their businesses more effective. So let's start by looking at what, in your eyes, goes into making for a complete solution.
That starts with first a design session or questionnaire, right? What are we trying to accomplish, which is what we said earlier, right? So from that, trying to figure out which piece parts fit that specific business. But see, then you're talking, you know, am I talking call control? Am I talking conferencing? Anytime, anywhere connectivity, mobility, contact center, video. There are a lot of individual pieces, but it really all ties back to, at the end of the day, how am I connecting my people and my customers, my potential customers?
So you're working backwards from the needs.
Always.
And then looking at the applications, right?
Absolutely.
Because there's video for like what we're doing here.
Right.
But there's mobility for audio and now video too, but then you have the conferencing. So there's all these different pieces. So what do you see as the biggest challenges to identifying all those needs?
So from an SPS perspective, the biggest challenge is helping the customer understand what it is that they need. So figuring out what their challenges are and helping them map it back.
So who is they? Because I think the buying process has evolved from the days of PBX, right?
It has. They is really the lines of business, right? So it's really the people that need the technology that will be using the technology. It's not really purchasing anymore, or it's not facilities anymore. It is that line of business that can use that functionality, whether we're talking hosted conferencing or we're talking a phone on your desk. What do you need to do with it?
So IT is no longer really the driver of everything. They're more like the quarterback and pulling the team together.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Consultative process then.
Yeah, IT is more augmentative to the business as opposed to dictating to the business as it was years ago. And honestly, as it should be. The business success drives IT, not the other way around.
Yeah, that's a big change though,
It
right?
is. It's been a huge change.
So what are the biggest challenges? You come up with the solution, but then they've got to deploy it.
They do.
And so what are the big challenges there, and obviously the role that the system integrator plays?
So the biggest challenges from an IT perspective is keeping up with the latest technology. It changes, every few months something will change. So you can count on that in technology. That's good and bad, right? It's good because we constantly have innovation, we constantly have new ideas of way to help your business. It's bad because it's hard for IT to keep up with it. So that's where finding a good partner comes into play. Somebody that does this for a living, who understands the changes, understands if I change it here, what effect does it have in your business over there? And how can we map that back to our partners and our customers to explain why you would do this way versus that way.
So I think the ground we've covered, which really are the building blocks of Collab, is voice, data, video. I think they understand that pretty well. But as you say, the new trends coming in that are going to layer on top of that, now we're talking WebRTC, cloud, maybe Internet of Things, CPaaS. This is a big one with messaging applications, right? So talk a bit about that. What role do you see, and how far and how fast can you bring them along into some of these newer pieces?
So as they evolve, we'll definitely be there with them. So some of them were very new in. So if you look at, say, Cisco Spark is a good example, which is a fairly new offering, but it's come a very long way in a short period of time. You'll start seeing more and more connectivity options, pulling people in from your organization, outside of your organization, marrying cloud audio and video with premise audio and video. So essentially start making it seamless so we're back to anytime, any place, anywhere.
Yeah, so that brings us back to you. Then those are the technologies out there, and you're helping them stay current. Then what does an IT leader and his teammates and stakeholders, really, what do they have to look for in a partner? What's going to make this a successful?
Fair question, fair question. Things that I would look for if I'm that customer. Does this partner, have they been doing this for a while? Do they understand the technology itself? Very important. But more important, are they here for me? Are they going to look out for my best interest? Do they care about my business? Do they care about making me more productive and more profitable? Those are things you want to look at, right? A lot of people know the technology, right? A lot of people don't keep up with the latest technology, some do, but not everyone's going to take the customer's interest to heart, right? So I would look for that in a partner.
Okay, so Mike, let's talk now about the road ahead. I think this kind of brings everything to a logical kind of conclusion. So I want to ask you first, what do you see out there that you're excited about in the marketplace with the new technologies that your customers haven't seen yet? Maybe they've heard a little bit about it, but you think are going to be pretty cool for them in the next, near term.
One of the things that is definitely happening in the technology space right now, we are separating software from hardware. So we're taking the brains of the hardware, extracting it, and making the hardware pretty much kind of a dumb endpoint. And then I'll have a controller of some sort to control that endpoint. So I've got that logical separation. So if you think about software-defined networking, right, SDN, or in a Cisco world, ACI, that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm extracting the brains from the hardware. So you're going to start seeing more and more of that. In the data center world, ACI, HyperFlex, another option, where I add a node into my network and it shares disk and CPU, memory, things along those lines as that node. In a UC world, I see more things along the lines of Spark, where I can extend my on-prem services out into the cloud, and from there have more of a shared services type model.
Is this going to be good news or bad news for IT?
It's going to be different news for IT. The IT world is changing. It's not as much about speeds and feeds. It's not as much about dictating technology. It's more about trying to figure out what is the best fit for my business and how do I help my business be successful.
Okay, yeah, and I think that's how it should be going as well. And you get them you bring them to that trough. They see these possibilities, but you've got stuff coming that they haven't seen yet too. So I'd like to ask you to crystal ball a bit and say, what do you think they might be doing a year or two down the road now that they don't know they're going to be doing yet?
A lot of that kind of revolves right back down to in the SDN world or the Spark world.
Okay.
They're going to be extending their services outside of their network into kind of a hybrid role where it's going to be part prem, part cloud. And you're going to see more and more cloud adoption in the mix of the two.
Okay. And then when the cloud takes over from everything, is all the hardware going to go away, or are we still going to have some pieces left?
You're definitely going to have hardware. I mean, that need is never going to go away. I need something to connect to. Even if it's wireless, I need something to connect to. So that's never going to change, but the role of it will, to where it's now just that endpoint for me to connect into or to route through, but all of the brains of it move to a centralized controller.
Okay. Well, it's a different world.
It is.
And it's good food for thought for planning for the future.
Absolutely.
So with that, I think we've come to the end of our time. So this is Jon Arnold and Mike Cavanaugh here. We'd like to thank you all for watching our video interview today, and we hope you enjoyed it, and we'd love to hear your questions. Thanks.